Hello, my friends, and welcome back. Thank you very much for being with me again today. 3 topics for this video. The first one, Bilderberg Group is there. Did you know that? All right. It's a confirmation of another, how do they call it? Conspiracy theory. And the new guy in charge of the Bilderberg Group is who? The former NATO Secretary General, Stoltenberg. That's the first topic. The second topic, the United States of America could buy the Nord Stream pipelines, the ones that blew it, okay? And the third one is, if you want to study a 101, how to destroy your own country, Germany is the great example, is the current example, how Germany screwed itself up because of some traitors in charge of Germany. The Bundestag was dissolved by the German president. New elections for February. Why? We'll see what the alternative for Deutschland or Germany will do. Will they ban them from running? We'll find out. So let's start with the first one. Sometimes on Facebook there are some little memes over there, some little sayings and blah blah blah. And I saw some talking about all the conspiracy theories, so-called or named as conspiracy theories by the government, seem to come true. And, sometimes they list, the COVID, mask, mandates, the this and that. It seems like the Russians are, it seems like what was that? Horse little medicine that Joe Rogan was talking about, and so on, Invermectin, whatever it's called, something like that. So all these guys, all these conspiracy theories somehow seem to, in this case, Bilderberg Group. Remember, if you believe that Bilderberg Group is a secret organization, like in charge of this planet, that is a conspiracy theory. Now we have the ex-NATO boss, which is Mr. Stoltenberg, made head of the Bilderberg Group, Jens Stoltenberg. I will have a little something to say about Stoltenberg and Trump. If Stoltenberg was part of the Bilderberg Group, Trump wasn't, or they played the game. When they met together, remember, for that lunch or whatever it was, when Trump took Mr. Stoltenberg to task, Stoltenberg was like a student in front of the principal. Well, let's see. Let's start with the first topic here. Russia Today, 27th of December 2024. Ex-NATO boss made head of Bilderberg Group. Jens Stoltenberg has been appointed, by whom? As a co-chairman, according to the organization's website. So they go over there. But hey, they're not secret, no conspiracy theory. They're just people like you and I, with a few $1 billion and a lot of influence on this planet, though. Former NATO Secretary General Jens Stoltenberg, who was at the helm of the bloc for the past decade, has officially joined the secretive Bilderberg Group as co-chairman of the annual closed-door meetings involving the world's most powerful and wealthy individuals. The elite club was founded in 1954, officially to improve dialogue between Europe and the US. Every year, some 130 political leaders and experts from industry, finance, intelligence, labor, academia, and the media are invited to the gathering. The forums are generally not announced in advance and are held beneath a veil of secrecy, with attendance forbidden from disclosing any information derived from discussions. This has sparked a numerous number of conspiracy theories as to the nature of the group's activities and its influence on global events. Alright, as head of NATO, Stoltenberg played a key role in the bloc's involvement in the Ukraine conflict, which first stated not long ago he took office in 2024. He was proudly noted that during his tenure he oversaw the largest reinforcement of our collective defenses in a generation, and that defense spending is on an upward trajectory across the alliance. You got it? So this guy is, it's a good guy. It's a good guy. Now, when Trump took this guy to task, in that you can still, I think, find it on YouTube, Stoltenberg, not that he was traumatized by Trump, you could see on his body language, red-headed, faced, and, not good. He didn't have the wits to counter Trump. Like, come back and say something. Why? Because Trump was right. Nevertheless, Trump, as far as I know, he was never mentioned together with the Bilderberg Group. Putin is not there. Maybe that's why Russia has to fall. Xi Jinping is not there, or Modi is not there. So this is, I think, a mostly Euro-American creation, as they said in 19 whatever it was. Secretive, nothing wrong with that, but if you're secretive, a lot of conspiracy theories can arise out of that. So that's the first one. Second one, Nord Stream. Russia Today. US could buy Nord Stream, Vucic says. He is the president of the proud country of Serbia. The Serbian president has made a prediction following recent reports about an American investor's bid for the pipeline. The sabotaged Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline could become a property of the US investor in a year, and gas supplies from Russia to the EU could be resumed through the connector. Serbian President Vucic has suggested, and I'm quoting, "I dare to predict in a year, at the latest, Nord Stream will be owned by an American investor and gas will flow from Russia to Europe through the pipeline." The Serbian leader said, "Mark my words, 1 year until Nord Stream is up and running." Last month, the Wall Street Journal reported that U.S. financer and investor Stephen Lynch has expressed permission from the U.S. Treasury Department to buy the Nord Stream 2 gas pipeline if it is put up for auction next year. So, if you can't compete, what do you do? Well, we're told in capitalism that you make a better product, maybe, at a lower price or something like that. You innovate, you use your brain. But these guys are doing the other way. They destroy you or they make your product illegal so they can win. That's exactly what happened, I think, with Nord Stream. They destroyed it so they can own it. And then it's going to be all good if we can blackmail you. Remember one of Trump's claims in front with the baboon Stoltenberg? Stoltenberg was not very bright by his statements. I got to tell you that. I mean, if you know things, you understand, look through people. So Trump said, well, why is Germany buying natural gas from Russia? Russia can always blackmail, and China, right, can always blackmail the European Union, and Germany is stupid, and we have to defend the Germans from the Russians. What is this? Well, let's call it economic opportunity, my friend. And if a country is free to do business as you say we all are in capitalism, what's your problem? Well, you could be blackmailed. So now they cannot be blackmailed by the Russians, but could be blackmailed by you? Exactly. And that gets me to the third topic of this video, which is how Germany screwed itself because it has traitors. And who screwed Germany? The owners of Germany. Remember, Americans have about, 70,000 troops plus, I think, nuclear warheads over there. Or they don't. I think they want to deploy again. Here you go. Russia Today. German president dissolves parliament. A rare snap election will be held in February as critics of Western funding for the Ukraine conflict gain public support. German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier ordered the dissolution of the federal parliament on Friday, following the collapse of the country's ruling coalition. Mainstream parties in Germany are facing pressure at the ballot box from critics of Berlin's support for Ukraine. Well, what do you think will happen? Well, they will probably ban the Alternative for Deutschland. A snap election has been rescheduled for February 23. And if the Alternative for Deutschland wins the majority, they will cancel the elections like they did in Romania. But do you think the Romanians are just baboons? The Germans are, Nah, we're human, my friends. And if they were able to do that, if they overthrew a legitimate democratically elected government in Ukraine in 2014, Viktor Yanukovych, and then immediately the democracies of the world recognized the traitors, because you're a traitor. If you, with the outside help, you overthrow a legitimate democratically elected government, as corrupt as it was, okay, then who are you? What's going on? You're a traitor. You are a traitor. Why? Because someone would like to do that somewhere else. That's exactly the words will be used. And that person probably will be gladly by the Democrats with, oh, they don't like the death penalty. Why? Setting examples, my friends. So a three-way coalition led by Chancellor Olaf Scholz collapsed in early November amid internal disputes over spending priorities. They imposed sanctions on themselves. That's what the Germans did. They imposed sanctions on themselves. And then more expensive natural gas and resources, your product will be more expensive, obviously. Therefore, you cannot compete on the market. Therefore, you go bankrupt, or you relocate your industry to places that have cheaper energy, lower taxes, and some incentives from printing money from thin air, which is United States of America. Good job, good job. And do you think the Germans did not know that? They didn't figure it out? They did it nevertheless. So there are some traitors over there and some people who were cowards, and I think they're called by the balls. Oh, the Germans have no balls. Since 1945, their big balls were snapped with a big scissor over there. Why? Well, it's okay. We brought democracy and freedom and the Marshall Plan, wrote their constitution, deployed troops over there, changed their culture, and we indoctrinate them to blame themselves, to be ashamed of something they didn't do. Someone else did. Some in their country did. I don't know, about 80 years ago. Who's in charge of Germany? You know. Okay, so let's see what's going on here. What they talk about here. All right. The EU powerhouse is currently experiencing political turbulence as its economy struggles to overcome stagnation. Non-mainstream parties, including the right-wing Alternative for Deutschland and left-wing Sachra Wagenknecht Alliance, BSW, have scored several successes in regional elections recently, upsetting the balance of power in the country. Both parties stood out on the political landscape by calling for a re-evaluation of Berlin's foreign policy. No, the bureaucrats are owned. What do you want? They're not going to follow orders. They're going to find something in a computer or something, including its support for Kiev against Russia. Germany is the world's second largest national provider of assistance, including weapon supplies to the government of Vladimir Zelensky's time after the US. And Sputnik, German president says dissolves Bundestag, schedules early elections for February 2023. The face of a baboon, right there. Today I have decided to dissolve the 20th Bundestag and schedule early elections for February 23rd next year. The relevant notification has been sent to the chairman of the Bundestag. The president said, all right, good job, but at least you did this one. They allow you to do that. All right, my friends, Chancellor Olaf Scholz's government lost a vote of confidence in parliament on Monday, paving the way for early elections in February. The government imploded in early November after Scholz fired Finance Minister Christian Lindner. The Free Democratic Party, citing his unwillingness to greenlight an increase in the aid to Ukraine simultaneously with an increase in domestic spending. You are collapsing Deutschland über niemals. You are. And the decision has been made by your elites, your elected officials, and on the payroll of... Okay. So, what do we have here? Stoltenberg, a baboon. When I said this many times before, I'm gonna be short. When you're a child, you look at the people, your parents, you look at the teachers as gods, or no, you don't challenge why? Because you don't know squat. And you don't challenge their authority, they know. And then once you accumulate knowledge, you start understanding that oh, wait a second. Oh, okay, the teacher was not that smart. Oh, my parents had the limitations. And you go to the PhDs and you go to the big brains, minds of this world, and you read about it, and you read in your hands the main ingredient to be able to understand is knowledge and reflection, meditation on the knowledge you have, putting things together. And then when you hear Stoltenberg, when you hear Liz Truss, when you hear, let's say, Olaf Scholz, when you hear Biden, when you hear these baboons, Blinken and others, Starmer, you understand that they are very low and you see through them. If you have experience with people, if you worked with people, and if you have some brains, you have memory, understanding, and so on, reflection. So then you understand when you hear Stoltenberg making statements and using logic to support certain statements, you realize this guy is either a criminal, maybe not a criminal, anyway, he's either a evil guy who's just making a point regardless. I say, okay, I will take your house because today is Monday. That's my justification. You know, it doesn't have anything to do with Monday and your house, me taking over. But hey, that's my justification. So when you hear something like this, you either think I'm an imbecile. What do you mean you take? What's the connection between Monday and taking my house, my property? Or you say this guy is an evil guy that doesn't even bother to make a case for his criminal action. That's Stoltenberg, one of the two. The second one is the Nord Stream. That's the capitalism by the Americans. They fuck themselves very much. I'm talking about me as a Romanian born, okay? We looked at the Americans, America as like something like a God's country. And Americans a little bit special and so on, which they are. But their culture, their country has been hijacked from 1965 on. They've been done. So when they tell you about capitalism, they lecture you on this. Yeah, they lectured even though they had Jim Crow laws and they have slaves. They still lectured people, all right? But nevertheless, they fixed that. Excellent, well, excellent. But in the meantime, you can't help noticing that these guys, I'm talking about the government, are hypocrites, and their media are hypocrites. They're not what they were, but they claim they are. All right? And they tell you about capitalism, but they do what they do around the world, which is the interest, banking is interest, military-industrial complex, and the energy industry. They have an interest in, let's say, Nicaragua tomorrow. They have the politicians who campaign donations, will go and attack verbally Nicaragua, will tell those guys we need some incentives for our business in your country. Nicaragua will say no. These guys say, okay, now we're going to go and we point out, because we are on the white horse somewhere, we point out to your, I don't know, you guys violate minority rights or something. Like we don't, but you do. Therefore, we have to impose sanctions. That is, we're going to strangle you until your economy collapses and the people will come with pitchforks and with torches to take care of the guys who did not allow our companies to enter and invest in your country. And if that doesn't work, we're going to find a little incident for a little regime change like that, or like Ukraine 2014. If that doesn't work, we just come and bomb, take over, and fuck it. And then our industries will rebuild what our sanctions destroyed. You got it? So the same thing with the pipelines. We're going to take over something that we don't know who did it. Okay, we don't know who did it whatsoever. All right, so that's another one. And then the Germans, clear example to screw up your country. Traitors, baboons, together. Thank you very much for being with me again today. Stay strong, stay smart, look for the truth, and be just.